The alarm rang through the command center on Earth. Admiral Sarah Chen looked at the screen in front of her. 300 alien warships had just appeared at the edge of human space. They were massive, each one 10 times larger than anything humanity had ever built. "How long until they reach the neutral zone?" Sarah asked. "They're already there, Admiral," her communications officer replied. "And they're sending us a message." The main screen flickered to life. A tall alien with blue skin and 4 arms appeared. His eyes were cold and calculating. Behind him, Sarah could see the bridge of his ship, filled with technology that looked like magic compared to human equipment. "I am Supreme Commander Kelthar of the Galactic Dominion," the alien said. His voice was smooth but carried a threat in every word. "You will listen carefully, humans. What I say next will determine if your species lives or dies." Sarah felt her heart pound in her chest, but she kept her face calm. Around her, the other officers of Earth's United Defense Council watched in silence. "Your species has been in space for 150 years, Kelthar continued. "This is nothing. My people have traveled the stars for 10,000 years. The youngest species in the Dominion has been spacefaring for 3,000 years. You are children playing with dangerous toys." He leaned forward and Sarah could see something like pity in his eyes, or perhaps it was contempt. "The Dominion has decided that humanity cannot be trusted to govern itself. You are too young, too reckless, too violent. We have seen your wars, watched how you treat each other. If we leave you alone, you will eventually threaten the peace of the galaxy." "What are you saying?" Sarah asked, though she already knew the answer. "Surrender," Kelthar said simply. "All human worlds will become protectorates of the Dominion. We will guide you, teach you, control you until you are ready to stand on your own. This may take 1,000 years or more, but it is better than the alternative." "And what is the alternative?" Kelthar's expression didn't change. "We will destroy every human ship, every space station, every colony beyond your home planet. We will leave Earth intact, but you will never leave your solar system again. You will live and die on one world, watched by our ships until the end of time." The screen went dark. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Then Admiral Rodriguez, the oldest member of the council, cleared his throat. "We can't fight them," he said quietly. "We have 47 ships. They have 300, and their ships are more advanced than ours. It would be a massacre, so we surrender." Admiral Okonkwo asked. "We give up everything we've built? All our colonies, all our freedom?" "Better than extinction," Rodriguez replied. Sarah listened to them argue. They were good people, smart people, and they were terrified. She understood why. The odds were impossible. No military commander in history would choose to fight this battle. But Sarah wasn't thinking like a normal military commander. "I have an idea," she said. The room went quiet. Everyone turned to look at her. "We send one ship," Sarah continued. "Our largest dreadnought, the Indomitable. It goes alone to meet their fleet." "That's suicide," Rodriguez said. "Sending one ship against 300? "It's a gesture," Sarah explained. "A show of respect. We're not running away, but we're not being stupid either. We send our best ship with our best crew. We show them we have courage, and then what?" Okonkwo asked. "They destroy it and we surrender anyway?" Sarah met his eyes. "Maybe. Or maybe something else happens." She couldn't explain more. Not here, not now. The plan in her head was crazy, desperate, and had 1,000 ways to fail. But it was better than surrendering without trying anything. The council debated for 3 hours. In the end, they agreed to Sarah's plan, mostly because they had no better ideas. The Indomitable would go alone to face the Dominion fleet. It would be a symbol of human courage before they accepted defeat. Sarah walked through the corridors of Earth's orbital command station. Through the windows she could see the planet below, blue and green and beautiful. Somewhere down there were the graves of her husband and 2 children. They had died 8 years ago in the first contact war with a species called the Zelnari. It was a small war, barely a footnote in human history, but it had taken everything from her. She had almost quit the military after that. But then she realized something. The galaxy was dangerous. There were species out there with weapons that could destroy planets. Humanity needed protection, and humanity needed to learn how to survive among the stars. So she had stayed. She had studied every alien species she could learn about. She had read their histories, learned their tactics, understood their thinking. And she had helped design new ships, new weapons, new strategies. The Indomitable was the result of that work. To everyone else, it looked like a standard dreadnought, just bigger than most. 4 kilometers long, bristling with weapons powered by fusion reactors that could light up a small city. It was impressive by human standards, but Sarah knew what it really was. And soon the galaxy would know too. She boarded a shuttle that took her to the Indomitable. The ship was orbiting Mars, taking on final supplies. The crew of 4,000 was already aboard. They were the best humanity had to offer. Engineers, gunners, pilots, medical staff, all volunteers. Sarah walked onto the bridge. The officer stood and saluted. She saluted back and then looked at them one by one. "I won't lie to you," she said. "Most people think this is a suicide mission. They think we're going out there to make a brave gesture before we all die. And maybe they're right. Maybe in a few days we'll all be dead." She paused, letting that sink in. "But I don't think so. I think we're going to do something that no one expects. I think we're going to show the Galactic Dominion that humans are not children. We're not weak. We're not stupid. We're something they've never seen before." "What are we, Admiral?" asked Commander Price, her second-in-command. Sarah smiled. "We're survivors. We're adapters. We're the species that climbed out of caves and built starships. We've survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and disasters. And we're going to survive this too." The crew cheered. It wasn't loud or confident. It was the cheer of people who were scared but willing to try anyway. "All stations prepare for departure," Sarah ordered. "Helm, set course for the neutral zone. Maximum speed." The Indomitable turned away from Mars. Its engines glowed bright blue as it accelerated into the darkness of space. Behind it, Earth and all of humanity waited to see what would happen next. Sarah stood on the bridge and watched the stars stream past. In 3 days, they would reach the Dominion fleet. In 3 days, everything would change. She touched the small photograph in her pocket. Her family, smiling on a beach before the war took them away. "I hope I'm doing the right thing," she whispered to their memory. "I hope you'd be proud." The Indomitable flew on through the darkness alone, heading toward 300 alien warships and an uncertain fate. 3 days passed like a dream. The Indomitable traveled through empty space at maximum speed. The crew worked their shifts, ate their meals, and tried not to think about what was waiting for them. Sarah spent most of her time on the bridge or in her quarters. She reviewed the plan over and over, looking for flaws. There were so many things that could go wrong, but she couldn't see any better option. On the 3rd day, the sensors officer spoke up. "Admiral, we're detecting the Dominion fleet. Distance, 2 million kilometers and closing." "Put it on screen," Sarah ordered. The view screen showed space filled with ships, 300 warships arranged in perfect formation. They looked like jewels floating in the darkness, their hulls reflecting the light of distant stars. Some were shaped like crescents, others like pyramids, still others like nothing found in nature. Each one represented a different species in the Dominion. "They're beautiful," Commander Price whispered. "They're deadly," Sarah corrected. "Don't forget that." As they got closer, Sarah could see just how massive the alien ships were. The smallest was twice the size of the Indomitable. The largest looked like a small moon, covered in weapons and armor. "We're receiving a transmission," the communications officer said. "Put it through." Kelthar's face appeared on screen. He looked amused. "So the humans send one ship. I expected your entire fleet to come and beg for mercy. This is either very brave or very stupid." "Maybe both," Sarah replied calmly. "You are Admiral Chen, yes? We have studied your records. You are considered one of humanity's best military minds, and yet you come here alone with one ship against 300. Kelthar shook his head. "What do you hope to accomplish?" "I hope to talk," Sarah said. "Your Dominion has codes of honor, doesn't it? Ancient traditions about single combat?" The alien's eyes narrowed. "You know of our traditions?" "I've studied your history, Commander. The Dominion was formed 10,000 years ago when 12 species agreed to stop their wars. They created rules for settling disputes. One of those rules was single combat, ship against ship, commander against commander. The winner's terms would be honored. Those traditions are old," Kelthar said. "We rarely use them anymore, but they still exist in your laws, don't they?" There was silence. Behind Kelthar, Sarah could see other aliens on his bridge. They were talking to each other, gesturing. Clearly, Sarah had touched on something important. "Why do you mention this?" Kelthar asked carefully. "I challenge you to single combat," Sarah said. The words came out steady and clear. "Your ship against mine. If I win, the Dominion leaves human space and never returns. If you win, humanity surrenders completely. The alien stared at her. Then he started laughing. It was a deep rumbling sound that went on for several seconds. You cannot be serious, he said finally. Your ship against my flagship? The Eternal Judgment is the most powerful warship in the Dominion fleet. It has won 47 battles without taking significant damage. It carries weapons that could crack a planet's crust. And you think your primitive vessel can stand against it? Are you afraid? Sarah asked quietly. The laughter stopped. Kelthar's face went cold. What did you say? I asked if you were afraid. It's a simple question. You have the most powerful ship in your fleet. I have one human dreadnought. By your own words, you should win easily, so why won't you accept my challenge? I am not afraid of humans, Kelthar growled. Then prove it. Or are the Dominion's traditions meaningless now? Are you too civilized to honor the old ways? Sarah was gambling. She had studied the Dominion's culture carefully. They valued honor and tradition. The older species especially took pride in their ancient customs. By challenging Kelthar publicly in front of his entire fleet, she was forcing his hand. The alien commander was silent for a long time. Sarah could see him thinking, calculating. If he refused, he would look weak. But if he accepted and somehow lost, even though that seemed impossible, the consequences would be enormous. Very well, Kelthar said finally. I accept your challenge. We will meet in single combat according to the ancient laws. My flagship, the Eternal Judgment, against your Indomitable. The battle will be observed by both our fleets. No interference from either side. The fight continues until one ship surrenders or is destroyed. Do you accept these terms? I do, Sarah said. Then prepare yourself, Admiral Chen. In 1 hour, we will show you why the Dominion has ruled this galaxy for so long. The screen went dark. Commander Price turned to Sarah. Admiral, are you sure about this? Their flagship is massive. Our weapons might not even scratch its shields. I'm sure, Sarah said. She pulled up a tactical display. All crew, this is the Admiral. We're going into combat in 1 hour. I need everyone at their stations. Engineers, I want the reactors at maximum output. Weapons, prepare all railguns and missile tubes. Helm, be ready for rapid maneuvers. This is what we trained for. This is why we're here. Throughout the ship, 4,000 people moved to their positions. In the engine room, the massive fusion reactors hummed with barely contained power. In the weapons bays, crews loaded ammunition and checked targeting systems. In sick bay, doctors prepared for casualties. Sarah walked to her command chair and sat down. She pulled out the photograph of her family one more time. Her husband smiling, her children laughing. They were gone, but maybe their sacrifice would mean something. Maybe what happened in the next few hours would keep other families safe. I love you, she whispered to the photograph. Then she put it away and became the Admiral again. Tactical, what's the status of the alien fleet? They're moving into observation formation, Admiral. Creating a sphere around the combat zone. The Eternal Judgment is moving to the center. Take us in. Match their position. The Indomitable moved forward. Through the view screen, Sarah could see the other ship approaching. It was enormous, at least 20 kilometers long, shaped like a sword made of dark metal. Blue energy crackled along its hull. Weapon ports opened like hundreds of eyes. All systems ready, Admiral, Price reported. Good. Sarah opened a channel to the entire crew. This is it. In a few minutes, that ship is going to try to destroy us. It has better weapons, better shields, better everything. On paper, we can't win. But we're not on paper. We're here. We're real. And we're going to do something they don't expect. She paused, choosing her next words carefully. Remember what makes us human. We don't give up. We adapt, we survive. And most importantly, we work together. Every one of you has a role to play. Trust each other. Trust your training. And trust me. We're in position, the helm officer announced. Sarah looked at the Eternal Judgment on her screen. Somewhere on that ship, Kelthar was looking back at her, confident in his victory. All weapons, stand by. Shields to maximum. Here we go. The communication channel opened one more time. A neutral voice, probably an AI from one of the observer ships, spoke to both vessels. Combat will begin in 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7. Sarah gripped the arms of her chair. 6, 5, 4. The crew was silent, waiting. 3, 2, 1, begin. Space erupted in fire and light as two ships went to war. The Eternal Judgment fired first. Massive beams of plasma shot across space, each one carrying enough energy to vaporize a city. They struck the Indomitable shields and exploded in brilliant flashes of light. "Shields down to 70%, the tactical officer called out. "One hit and we're already compromised." "Evasive maneuvers," Sarah ordered. "Pattern Delta 4. Return fire all forward railguns." The Indomitable twisted to the side as more plasma beams cut through the space where it had been. Human railguns fired back, launching metal slugs at a fraction of light speed. The projectiles hit the alien ship's shields and bounced off like pebbles against a fortress wall. "No damage to the enemy," Tactical reported. On the observation ships, alien commanders watched the battle unfold. They spoke to each other through quantum-linked communications. "The human ship is faster than I expected," one said. "But its weapons are useless," another replied. "Look at their projectile weapons. So primitive, like throwing stones. The outcome is certain. This will be over in minutes." Back on the Indomitable, Commander Price watched their shield strength drop with each hit. "Admiral, we can't take many more of those plasma shots. And our weapons aren't even scratching them." "I know," Sarah said calmly. "Helm, bring us around. I want a close pass along their starboard side. As close as you can get without hitting them." "Admiral, that's suicide," the helm officer protested. "At that range, their weapons will tear us apart." "Do it anyway." The Indomitable accelerated toward the massive alien vessel. Plasma beams and quantum torpedoes filled the space around it. The shields flickered and failed in sections as the human ship took hit after hit. Hull plating began to peel away. Atmosphere vented from 3 decks. Damage reports flooded in from all over the ship. "Fire and Engineering Section 7. Hull breach on Deck 18. We've lost railgun batteries 4 and 5. But the human ship kept moving, kept fighting. It passed within a kilometer of the Eternal Judgment's hull, so close that both crews could see each other's ships in detail. Human missiles launched at point-blank range, hammering against the alien shields. A few got through scorching armor, but doing no real damage. "They're brave," Kelthar admitted, watching from his bridge. "Foolish, but brave. Let's end this. Target their engines. Maximum power." The Eternal Judgment's main cannon charged up. It was a weapon designed to destroy capital ships in a single shot. Energy readings went off the scale. "They're charging their planet-killer weapon," Tactical reported, voice tight with fear. "Impact in 10 seconds. Brace for impact," Sarah ordered. "All hands secure for collision." The beam fired. It was like a blue star being born, a column of pure destruction that crossed the space between the two ships in an instant. It hit the Indomitable directly in the center of its hull. The human ship exploded, or at least that's what it looked like. The Indomitable came apart in a massive cascade of debris. Huge sections of hull separated from each other, spinning away in different directions. Smaller pieces broke off from those. Within seconds, where one ship had been, there were now dozens of pieces of wreckage tumbling through space. On the Eternal Judgment, the crew cheered. Kelthar allowed himself a small smile. "As expected," he said. "The humans fought well, but they were outmatched. Open a channel to the debris field. Perhaps some of them survived in escape pods. We should offer them the chance to surrender." But the sensors officer looked confused. "Commander, I'm getting strange readings from the debris." "What kind of readings?" "The pieces are moving. And not just drifting, they're maneuvering. Using thrusters. And their power signatures are still active. It's almost like—" The officer's voice trailed off as understanding dawned. On the observation ships, the alien commanders were starting to see it too. "Impossible," one whispered. "Those aren't debris," another said slowly. "Those are ships." The pieces of the Indomitable were indeed moving with purpose. Each large section was adjusting its position, bringing weapons to bear. What had looked like a destroyed Dreadnought was actually something else entirely. Commander Price grinned from his bridge on what was now called the frigate section. Around him, his crew of 85 people worked at their stations. Their part of the ship had always been independent. It just had been locked together with all the others. "All sections, this is Price, sound off." One by one, the responses came in. 47 different ships, each with its own bridge, its own engines, its own weapons. Each one had been part of the Indomitable's structure, disguised as sections of a single massive dreadnought. Sarah's voice came over the command network from the lead destroyer. "All ships, this is Admiral Chen. Execute attack pattern Omega. Show them what we really are." The 47 human ships moved as one. They scattered in a coordinated pattern, coming at the Eternal Judgment from every direction at once. The alien ship designed to fight other massive capital ships found itself surrounded by smaller, faster targets. "Target the lead ship," Kelthar ordered, his voice no longer confident. "No, that one." "Wait, target?" He couldn't decide. The human ships were everywhere, swarming around his vessel like insects around a giant. Their railguns might not be powerful enough to destroy his ship in one hit, but they didn't need to be. They just needed to keep hitting the same spots over and over. A human destroyer focused its fire on one section of shields. After the 30th hit, the shields failed in that spot. Railgun rounds punched through armor. A human corvette flew past, dropping missiles into the hole. Explosions rippled through the Eternal Judgment's interior. "Damage report," Kelthar demanded. "Hull breaches on decks 40 through 45. We've lost weapons battery 9. Shields are failing in sectors 4, 7, and 12. Another group of human ships concentrated fire on the engines. The massive alien vessel tried to turn to track them, but it was too slow. It had been built for power, not agility. The small human ships danced around it, hitting and moving. Hitting and moving. On the observation ships, the alien commanders watched in stunned silence. "They tricked us," one finally said. "That ship was never one vessel. It was dozens of ships locked together." "But why? Why build that way?" "Because it's smart," another commander replied, grudging respect in their voice. "One big ship is one target. But many small ships, they can adapt to any situation. Combine for power when needed, separate for flexibility." Sarah's voice broadcast on all frequencies, reaching every ship in the system, human and alien alike. "Attention, Galactic Dominion. Humanity doesn't build single points of failure. We don't put all our hope in one massive ship that can be destroyed. We work together, we adapt, we survive." Another volley of railgun fire struck the Eternal Judgment. Its engines flickered and died. More weapons went offline. The proud flagship of the Dominion fleet was being taken apart piece by ships it had dismissed as primitive. "Commander," the Eternal Judgment's tactical officer said quietly, "we need to withdraw. If we stay, they will destroy us." Kelthar stared at the screen, watching the human ship swarm around his vessel. His pride warred with his survival instinct. He had never lost a battle. Never. But he had also never faced an opponent like this. "Open a channel to the fleet," he said finally. "Tell them to prepare for— Admiral?" His communications officer interrupted. "The human ships are targeting our escape pods. They're surrounding them but not firing. It's like they're protecting them." Sarah's voice came through again. "Commander Kelthar, we don't want to destroy you. We just want you to understand something. Humanity is not weak. We're not children. We're different from you, and that difference is our strength." On Sarah's bridge, Tactical showed the Eternal Judgment floating dead in space, surrounded by human ships. "Admiral, the Dominion fleet is moving. They're advancing on our position." "Expected," Sarah said. "Open a channel to Kelthar's flagship." "Channel open. Commander Kelthar, order your fleet to stand down. Right now we have your ship surrounded. Our weapons are aimed at your life support systems. You are alive because we choose to let you live, but if your fleet attacks, you will die in the next 10 seconds. The choice is yours." Long seconds passed. The Dominion fleet continued to advance, weapons charging. Then Kelthar's voice, tired and defeated, spoke one word: "Stop." The alien fleet halted. For the first time in 3,000 years, the Galactic Dominion had hesitated. The silence that followed was absolute. 300 alien warships floated in space, watching. On board each one, commanders and crew members tried to understand what they had just witnessed. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on her bridge, the bridge of what was now just one destroyer among 47 ships. Through her view screen, she could see the Eternal Judgment, dark and powerless, surrounded by her fleet. "Status report," she ordered. "All 47 ships reporting, Admiral. We have minor damage across the fleet. 3 ships have casualties, 18 wounded, none dead. The Eternal Judgment is completely disabled. No engines, no weapons, life support at minimal levels." Sarah nodded. The plan had worked better than she had hoped. Better than she had any right to expect. Commander Price's face appeared on a communication screen. He was grinning like a child. "Admiral, I can't believe that actually worked. When you first explained this plan 6 months ago, I thought you were insane." "I probably am," Sarah said with a tired smile. "But it was our only chance." "Status of your section?" "Frigate Section Alpha is intact. We took some hits during the separation maneuver, but nothing critical." We're ready for the next phase. Good. All ships maintain your positions around the Eternal Judgment. I want every weapon locked on their life support and bridge. If anything moves, we react. On the Eternal Judgment, Kelthar sat in his command chair and stared at the screens around him. His ship's bridge was dark, lit only by emergency lights. Half his crew was injured. His proud flagship was a floating piece of scrap metal. How? He asked quietly. How did we not see this? His intelligence officer, a thin alien with gray skin and too many eyes, spoke carefully. Commander, we analyzed everything we could find about human ships. Their design documents, their construction records, everything. All the data showed they were building standard single-hull dreadnoughts. Then the data was wrong. No, Commander. The data was correct. They were building single-hull designs. They just also built them to separate. The specifications we saw showed all the connection points, all the modular components. We just didn't understand what we were looking at. Kelthar's tactical officer added, their entire design philosophy is different from ours. We build ships to be strong, to show power, to project dominance. They built ships to be adaptable. Every section can function alone or work together. It's like their ships are alive, able to change shape based on what they need. And their weapons, another officer said. We thought their railguns were primitive, just metal projectiles accelerated by magnetic force, but they don't need exotic energy sources. They don't rely on antimatter or quantum disruption. A railgun works anywhere, anytime. It's reliable, simple, effective. Kelthar closed his eyes. The Dominion had made the oldest mistake in warfare. They had underestimated their enemy. They had seen humanity's small fleet and assumed weakness. They had seen simple technology and assumed stupidity. They had judged an entire species based on their own standards, never considering that different might not mean inferior. Commander, the human admiral is requesting to speak with you. Kelthar straightened in his chair. Even in defeat, he was still a commander of the Dominion. Put her through. Sarah Chen's face appeared on the screen. She looked tired but not triumphant. That surprised Kelthar. He had expected her to gloat. Commander Kelthar, she said formally, your ship is disabled but your crew is alive. We're going to keep it that way. I'm sending 3 of our ships to dock with yours. They'll provide power for your life support and medical supplies for your wounded. We'll also help you repair your communication system so you can talk to your fleet. Why? Kelthar asked. You've won. Why help us? Because this wasn't about killing you, Sarah replied. This was about making you understand. Humanity doesn't want war with the Dominion. We just want you to leave us alone. You humiliated me. You humiliated the entire Dominion in front of the galaxy. There will be consequences, I know. But the alternative was surrender or death. I chose to fight. And I chose to fight in a way that would make you think, not just make you angry. One of Kelthar's officers spoke up from off-screen. Admiral Chen, this is Medical Officer Salt. We have 73 wounded and our medical bay is damaged.
Do you really have supplies to spare?
We do, Sarah said. We came prepared for casualties. We'll share what we have. The medical officer looked at Kelthar, who nodded. We accept your help. 3 human ships detached from the swarm and moved toward the Eternal Judgment. They docked gently, connecting to the alien ship's hull. Within minutes, power was flowing into the damaged vessel. Human medics came aboard carrying supplies and equipment. On board the observation ships, alien commanders watched all of this in confusion. They're helping them? One asked. After defeating them so decisively, they're sharing resources. A very old alien, commander of a ship from the Dominar species, the founders of the Dominion, spoke slowly. Don't you understand? This is the most terrifying thing about humanity. They're not just warriors. They're not just clever. They have compassion even for their enemies. They defeat you and then they save your life. How do you defend against that? Another commander asked, what do we do now? Do we attack? Our fleet is still intact. We could destroy all 47 human ships and kill our supreme commander in the process, the old Dominar replied. No, we wait, we watch, we learn. On the Eternal Judgment, human medics worked alongside alien doctors. At first, the aliens were suspicious, but the humans just did their jobs. They treated wounds, set broken bones, and saved lives without caring about species or politics. One human medic, a young woman named Lisa Rodriguez, worked on an alien with purple skin and 3 arms. The alien had a severe burn from an exploding console. This is going to hurt, Lisa warned, but it will help the healing. Why do you care? the alien asked. We tried to conquer your species. We threatened to destroy your worlds. Lisa applied the medical gel carefully. Because you're hurt? That's all that matters right now. Politics and war can wait. Keeping you alive can't. The alien stared at her with incomprehension and something that might have been respect. Kelthar watched all of this from his bridge. A human engineering team was working on his communication systems. Within an hour, they had the equipment functional again. You can now contact your fleet, the human engineer said. We haven't installed any monitoring devices or sabotage. You can check if you want. Kelthar did check, and the human was right. The systems were clean. Thank you, he said quietly. Just doing our job, Commander. When the humans returned to their ships, Kelthar opened a channel to his fleet. 299 ships were waiting for his orders. This is Supreme Commander Kelthar, he began. His voice was steady despite his humiliation. Stand down all weapons. Power down combat systems. We are withdrawing from this engagement. Commander, one of his sub-commanders protested. We can still win. Our fleet is undamaged. We can— No, Kelthar interrupted. You didn't see what I saw. You didn't experience what I experienced. These humans are not like any species we've encountered before. They're not just strong or clever. They're something else. Something new. He paused, choosing his words carefully. They built their flagship to break apart. Think about that. They built their greatest weapon knowing it would have to shatter to be effective. What species does that? What kind of thinking does that represent? They also saved our lives when they could have killed us, his medical officer added. Their medics treated our wounded without hesitation. Their engineers fixed our systems without sabotage. Why? Because they're not cruel, Kelthar said. They're not conquerors. They just want to survive, and they're very, very good at it. He opened a channel to Sarah Chen. Admiral, the Dominion fleet is standing down. We need to talk formally, not as enemies, but as— I'm not sure what we are now. Sarah's face appeared on screen. She looked relieved. I'd like that, Commander. I'd like that very much. Give me 1 day to consult with my government, Kelthar said. Then we will meet aboard your ship or mine, your choice, and discuss terms. We'll meet aboard the Eternal Judgment, Sarah decided. On your territory. To show trust. Kelthar felt something strange, a mixture of shame and gratitude. This human had defeated him, humiliated him, and now she was showing him respect. Tomorrow, then, he agreed. The channel closed. Kelthar sat alone on his bridge and thought about everything that had happened. The Dominion had ruled this galaxy for thousands of years. They thought they knew everything about warfare, about civilization, about power. But humanity had shown them something new, a way of thinking that was completely alien to them. Even though they were the aliens, tomorrow would be interesting. Tomorrow would change everything. The next day, Admiral Sarah Chen boarded the Eternal Judgment with a small team. Commander Price and 3 guards accompanied her. They wore dress uniforms, not battle gear. Sarah wanted this to be a negotiation, not a confrontation. The alien ship was impressive even in its damaged state. The corridors were huge, at least 10 meters tall, built to accommodate species of many different sizes. The walls were decorated with symbols and artwork from a dozen different civilizations. Everything spoke of age, tradition, and power. Kelthar met them in a conference room near the bridge. He was not alone. With him were 5 other commanders from different Dominion species. Each represented thousands of years of civilization and culture. Admiral Chen, Kelthar said formally, welcome to the Eternal Judgment. Please sit. The furniture was alien, but someone had brought chairs sized for humans. Another small gesture of respect. Sarah sat down and her team flanked her. Across the table, 6 pairs of alien eyes watched her carefully. I have spent the last day, Kelthar began, speaking with the Council of the Dominion. It was not an easy conversation. I had to explain how one human ship defeated the flagship of our fleet. I had to explain how we completely misjudged your capabilities. Some council members called for immediate retaliation. Others wanted to withdraw and pretend this never happened. And what did you recommend? Sarah asked. That we talk to you, that we try to understand you. Because I realized something, Admiral. The Dominion has encountered hundreds of species over the millennia. We've fought wars, made alliances, conquered and been conquered. But we've never met anyone quite like humans. One of the other commanders, an insect-like being with translucent wings, spoke up. Your ship, the Indomitable, it was a lie. You made us think it was one vessel when it was actually many. Why? It wasn't a lie, Sarah corrected gently. It really was one ship, but it was also 47 ships. Both are true. We just think about things differently than you do. Explain, the insect commander said. Sarah thought about how to put it into words they would understand. The Dominion builds big ships to show power, to intimidate, to be impressive. Am I right? The aliens nodded. Humans build ships to solve problems. Our problem was that we had a small fleet facing a much larger one. We couldn't build 300 ships, we didn't have the time or resources. So we asked ourselves, how can we make 47 ships do the work of 300? And the answer was to make them modular, Commander Price added. Each ship can operate alone or lock together with others. Together they look like one big ship, but separate them, and you have a swarm that can attack from every direction. A third alien commander, this one with scales and 4 eyes, leaned forward. But why use such primitive weapons? Your railguns are centuries behind our plasma cannons. Sarah smiled. Are they? A railgun is simple. It's a magnetic accelerator and a metal projectile. It doesn't need antimatter. It doesn't need exotic particles. It doesn't need rare elements or complex power systems. If we run out of special ammunition, we can fire anything metal. A plasma cannon is more powerful, yes, but it's also more complex, more things that can break. Simple is reliable, Kelthar said slowly, understanding dawning. Your entire philosophy is about reliability and adaptability, not about raw power. Exactly, Sarah confirmed. We learned this the hard way over thousands of years on Earth. The biggest predator doesn't always survive. The strongest empire doesn't always last. But the species that can adapt to change, they survive everything. The insect commander's wings buzzed, a sign of agitation. You've been studying us. Our history, our tactics, our culture.
For how long?
8 years, Sarah admitted. Since the war with the Zelnari, that was the first time humanity encountered other species in combat. We won that war, but barely. It taught us that the galaxy was more dangerous than we imagined. So we decided to prepare. You prepared by appearing weak, Kelthar said. You hid your true capabilities. You let us think you were primitive and vulnerable. Yes. Because we knew that eventually someone like the Dominion would come. Someone bigger, stronger, more advanced. We couldn't match your power, so we made you underestimate us. We studied your arrogance. The room went cold at that word. The aliens tensed. I apologize if that sounds harsh, Sarah said calmly. But it's true. The Dominion is arrogant. You assume that because you're older, you're wiser. Because you have bigger ships, you're stronger. Because you've ruled for thousands of years, you always will. That arrogance is your weakness. And we exploited it. Kelthar wanted to be angry, but he couldn't. Because everything she said was correct. The scaled commander spoke. So what now? You've proven that you can defeat us in single combat. But you can't defeat our entire fleet. 300 ships against 47, the numbers don't lie. No, they don't, Sarah agreed. But tell me something. How many of those 300 ships can separate into smaller vessels like ours can? How many can adapt their formation on the fly? How many can survive if part of them is destroyed? Silence. The answer is none, Sarah continued. Every one of your ships is a single point of failure. Damage the engines and it can't move. Damage the weapons and it can't fight. Damage the bridge and it can't be commanded. Our ships? Each section has backups for everything. We don't have single points of failure because we learned not to depend on them. Commander Price pulled up a holographic display. And there's something else you should know. The Indomitable isn't unique. Every one of humanity's 46 remaining dreadnoughts is built the same way. Each one is actually dozens of ships in formation. So when you look at our small fleet of 47 dreadnoughts, you're actually looking at over 2,000 individual combat vessels. The aliens stared at the display in shock. 2,000, the insect commander whispered. You've had a fleet of 2,000 ships all along? We did, Sarah confirmed. We just kept them grouped together so you'd underestimate us. And it worked. You saw what you expected to see. A young species with primitive technology and a small fleet. You never looked deeper. Kelthar stood up and walked to a window. Outside, the human ships maintained their careful positions around his vessel. Each one was small, unremarkable, easy to dismiss. But together, they had achieved the impossible. You said you studied us for 8 years, Kelthar said, not turning around. What else did you learn? That the Dominion is not evil, Sarah replied. You genuinely believe you're helping younger species by guiding them. You think you're keeping the galaxy safe, and maybe you're right. Maybe some species need guidance, but humanity doesn't. We need to make our own mistakes, learn our own lessons, find our own path. And if your path leads to disaster, then that's our choice to make. Freedom includes the freedom to fail. Kelthar turned back to face her. The Council will not be happy with this. We came here to bring you into the Dominion, by force if necessary. Now I must return and tell them we failed. You didn't fail, Sarah said. You learned. You discovered a new way of thinking. Isn't that valuable? The scaled commander spoke up. What do you want from us, Admiral Chen? What are your terms? Simple. Leave human space. Don't interfere with our colonies or our ships. Let us grow and develop on our own. In return, we'll share our technology with you, not weapons, but other things. Medical advances, engineering techniques, agricultural methods. We'll trade with you as equals, not as subjects. Equals, Kelthar repeated. A species that's been in space for only 150 years. Equals to civilizations that have existed for thousands of years. You're asking for a lot. I'm asking for what we've earned, Sarah said firmly. We beat your flagship in single combat. According to your own ancient laws, doesn't that mean something? The 6 aliens looked at each other. They communicated through subtle gestures and expressions that Sarah couldn't fully read. Finally, Kelthar spoke. You're right. Our laws are clear. You won the challenge. That means we must honor your terms. He paused. But I'm going to add something. A proposal. I'm listening. An alliance. Not as master and subject, but as equals. The galaxy is large, Admiral. There are threats out there that even the Dominion fears. Species that make us look peaceful. Forces that could destroy both our civilizations. Together we would be stronger. Sarah considered this carefully. An alliance means mutual defense. If someone attacks you, you'd expect us to help. If someone attacks us, we'd expect your help. Can the Dominion accept that? Really accept it, not just in words, but in action? I don't know, Kelthar admitted. But I think we should try. Because you've taught me something, Admiral. The galaxy is changing. New species are emerging with new ideas. The old ways, our ways, might not be enough anymore. We need to adapt, just like you said. And maybe humanity can teach us how. Sarah looked at her team. Commander Price nodded slightly. The guards showed no expression, but she knew they trusted her judgment. All right, Sarah said. We'll propose this alliance to Earth, but it has to be real. No more treating us like children. No more assumptions about what we can or can't do. Agreed, Kelthar said. He extended his hand, a human gesture he had learned. Sarah shook it. There's one more thing, Sarah added. Your fleet came here to conquer us. They're watching right now, waiting to see what happens. You need to tell them that everything has changed.